Hi, today is Friday, June 16th, 2017, and this is a Swede Speaks. And this Friday, I've got a guest, Mikael from Finland. And I think maybe you could give us a few insights on what's going on in Finland right now. What happened in Finland last weekend with the True Finns and this week?
Well, it's been a big week of changes. True Finns broke. It's our national party here in Finland. They had an election of a new spokesman, and let's put it this way: the old party bosses, the old elite party bosses of the True Finns didn't like it, and they basically deserted the party and decided to found a new party. In a nutshell, that was what happened last weekend when the new leader of the True Finns was chosen. Also, our other ruling parties, our ruling government parties, did not like it. They did not accept him. And the problem here is that the True Finns are or were in government also, but in their government term, halfway their government term, after 2 years, there was a usual scheduled election of a new spokesman, which, by the way, was decided only by the members of the True Finns party, which is great. It was actually chosen democratically, really democratically, because oftentimes most of these old, more corrupt government parties, overall our parties in Finland, their elite chooses new
sort of
spokesman.
a new leader, and everyone just goes along with the.
Yes, but in True Finns, it's really great that their members really choose the new party, and for a long time it's been the founder of the party, Timo Soini. And just a little background.
Yes.
Timo Soini founded the party about 20 years ago, and it was initially a populist party, mostly more leaning to the left, not an extreme left party, but more positioned as advocating for poor and elderly pensioners and jobless people, advocating for weak people's rights. It was 20 years ago, and before that it was kind of it was a small party after that, before that, but there has been always, at least last 10 years, there have been two strong factions. There have been these more left-leaning party factions supporting the founder, Timo Soini,
yes.
And then that was from the start, from 20 years ago. But then about 2007 or 2008, there's been another faction very against immigration, very much against immigration, and both factions have been against the European Union, because that's all also relating to it's away from it's burdening the poor and so on.
And because the European Union would like to, it's kind of globalism, that the European Union would say that we want each country to take their fair share of the migrant wave, which is why they're trying to make Poland accept this and things like this. And of course, a party like the True Finns should obviously be opposed to those ideas.
Yes, and they have been always when they have been an opposition party. They've been an opposition party for about almost forever. It's only in 2015 that they absolutely wanted to finally get to the government. Also a bit background, more to this, I would probably have to explain. First, they really started to rise after the anti-immigration faction became larger, about 2008 onwards. There was also a corruption scandal about 2010, 2011, and the recession hit us after 2009. And that has been a really driving factor for the popularity of the true Finns. But main reasons for the rising popularity, have been anti-European Union, relating to also against the euro, against sending billions of dollars to Greece and so on, to South European nations, and yeah, being also trying to help poor and jobless and elderly and so on. It was really in 2011 that True Finns got their biggest landslide victory. It was a huge victory. It's called Jytky in Finnish, meaning, well, like a big victory.
Okay.
They stayed in opposition, but the founder of the party, Timo Soini, already back then wanted to go to the government, but the party membership voted against it, so back then he had to agree with them. But the point is, there have been two factions in the party, more anti-immigration faction and more left-leaning faction. Maybe the anti-immigration faction has become even larger than that, but there have been about two parties, and there have been some tensions in recent years, especially after 2015, during when True Finns have been in government, and then tension has really started to get stronger against, like, basically supporters of Jussi Halla-aho, the biggest immigration and European Union critic in Finland, and between supporters of Timo Soini, like left-leaning people. And well, the popularity of True Finns has really sunk. Basically, True Finns got 19% of the vote in 2011. They were then about third biggest party, or actually third and second biggest party, because they were so close. They were basically even with the Social Democrats. And then in 2015 they got about 17.5% of the vote, about something like that. And then they ended up being the second largest party. They have been the second largest party in Finland, but they really sunk in popularity during their government responsibility. It's been terrible. Their popularity has been cut in half. It's now about 9% or something like that, according to official polls. But they've been fairly correct, fairly accurate.
Yes. And what happened in Finland now was that first they said there was a government crisis, but the other day the crisis was solved, because now you had this splinter group who left ship and formed their own group, which isn't even a real party, it's just some kind of parliamentarian splinter group.
Yes, correct. That's the current situation, but according to news, they are going to start a new party. Now, the splinter group is called something like
the New Alternative, I think.
New Alternative. Yeah, right. Yes, it all started. Actually, do you want me to explain what really happened behind this so-called government crisis when the splinter group left? What's its background?
I have been told, but I haven't confirmed this. So this is a rumor. So anyone commenting and telling me that I'm lying, no, I have been told, but I haven't checked it. But I have been told that Sipilä knew this all along, what was going on. Sipilä is the Prime Minister of Finland, for anyone who doesn't know that. And he already knew what was going on behind the scenes. So this entire crisis was just sort of a facade. Is that a correct assessment?
Yes, fairly correct. Yes. Now there have been and there still are about 3 government parties. There's the center party, called Keskusta, a national coalition party called Kokoomus, and then there were the True Finns. And
now it's the new alternative, or whatever they are.
Yeah,
the new alternative, the splinters.
Group. Yes, the founders of the party, basically the oldest, and I would even add the oldest and, well, the oldest and the treacherous. I mean,
yeah.
those career politicians basically left the party, and they're the biggest liars and maybe even a bit dumb, I would add. But that's a side issue. Anyway, what happened was, it was known already in early this year, after the founder of the party, Soini, decided that no, I'm not going to even try to get re-elected as the new leader of the party, because well, yeah, he had been 20 years.
Yes.
20 years he's been the leader of the party. So okay, I'm tired, and in reality his choice would have been, his victory would have been unclear. It was very uncertain. He probably would not have won if he had tried to become again the new leader of their 2-year annual election.
Oh yeah.
There were polls in earlier this year, at the early second quarter, April onwards. There were polls showing that basically Jussi Halla-aho was almost always had the most popularity.
He was the most popular
among True Finn members.
Yes.
If they choose their leader. And this even got. He was at first. He was he was pretty even with the competitor Sampo Terho, who was basically Timo Soini's heir, so to say.
He was his crown prince.
Yes, crown prince. He was basically Soini's reincarnation, or what would you call it. Anyway, he would have continued the same policies as Soini. He would definitely stay in government and, well, done basically everything other ruling parties wanted, so that they would have not been thrown out of the government. But the irony here is there was heavy campaigning, hostile campaigning against Jussi Halla-aho after he announced his participation in the race again for the new leader. Among even some competitors who wanted to get to be the new leader, but even media participated in it, and media, there was a strong campaign in the media, many medias against Jussi Halla-aho, basically saying, True Finns, please don't choose Jussi Halla-aho, he's a terrible person, and so on.
That sounds like the mainstream media, all right.
Then he really started to rise up in popularity among True Finns. I mean, basically, there's a big irony here. And it's been the case in the United States also, but let's not go in there too long discussion. But if media is strong against some politicians and trying to tell people, please don't vote him, he starts to get more popular.
Yeah, we see it all over the West.
People get angry, and they if not for any other reason, to just get back at the media.
When mainstream media or politicians start talking to people like they were kindergarten children, people tend to get angry. We saw it in the United States, we've seen it in Sweden, we see it in Finland. Yes. I think we see it everywhere.
Yes, and also partly the reason for the rise of the True Finns was because media was always against them. They're still against them, but when they were in opposition, they were hugely hostile, very hostile against them. And anyway, Jussi Halla-aho won. He got elected as the new leader, and all the polls showed this all along. So afterwards, Timo Soini and his supporters were disappointed. They even started, there are very many excuses and very many lies, but they started saying something like, well, our party has been captured, and it was not fair, and so on. But in reality, their party has become a lot bigger in recent years. And when it gets bigger, it gets more members, and
Yeah.
when members get to decide who they want to become their new leader, well, if the choice is continuation of pretty much same shit. I mean,
Yeah,
same
business as
policy,
usual.
same lies, same disappointing and lying to the voters, or if they can get a new leader who says, well, no, we're not going to stay in government at any cost. We're not going to go against our every principle as they have so far in government. If our government ruling parties don't agree to our government program signed in 2015, which they have not so far, they really, especially regarding immigration, they have not followed it through.
No.
I mean, there have been some very small
Some adjustments
tightenings.
maybe.
Yeah, very little, but not really. Not really. It has not been followed through
No.
very good. And Jussi Halla-aho demanded that, yeah, we
Yeah.
have to follow it through. You have to accept our priorities also, and we have to all implement what has been agreed initially. And that was his whole point. And yeah, that was really the reason why he got elected fairly, squarely, democratically.
Yeah. So speaking about Jussi Halla-aho, who is this? Who is this guy, or who is this man, and why is he so controversial?
He's one of the reasons why I actually initially got really interested in Finnish politics. He and True Finns, when they really started to rise and fall. It was really interesting to see. Okay, what the hell? Can some party really change policy here? Is it really possible? Are the old parties just corrupt and lying and so on, or let's see, what the hell? Let's see how much we can really try to change the course of Finland regarding European Union, immigration, Eurozone, so on. And many Finns thought like this and got really interested. Jussi Halla-aho, he's basically, as I mentioned earlier, biggest immigration and European Union skeptic. He's not really left-leaning, he's maybe more right to the, I'm not sure, alternative right, but anyway, really...
Would you maybe call him more of like a national conservative or something like that?
Yes, exactly, yes, more national conservative and maybe more like Sweden Democrat,
Yes.
something like that. And he's been, it was about, also in 2008 when he really started to rise, he was elected first to the municipality, then in 2011 he got a real landslide victory in becoming to the national parliament, representative of people,
Yeah, right.
about one of 200 representatives. He
Yeah.
was one of the most popular politicians. He got maybe fifth most popular in 2011, and I think it was almost second most popular in 2015. It was in 2014. In European elections, Euro Parliament elections, he was the second most popular politician. He got the second most votes, and he's been in the European Parliament ever since 2014.
Yeah, that's right. He's a member of the European Parliament.
Yes, well, he's very, even his most hostile critics would agree, if you really press them, that he's very intelligent, very analytical writer. It's been he's had hundreds of writings, very influential writings, and it even inspired many thousands of people to found a forum dedicated to his message. I mean, his blog's comment section became too large, so they had to found a forum for him. And he's been rising in popularity since 2008, and he's a very intelligent writer, very provocative writer, mostly. He's a doctor of philosophy, basically language science, linguistic scholar.
Interesting.
Linguistic scholar is the right word, and it shows in his writings also. And he's fairly influential and intelligent intelligently argumentative writings, basically against mass immigration, against the European Union, which related to it, and
I think
defending Christianity and very critical of Muslims, Islam.
Yeah, I think he has said a few things about Islam too that I would probably agree with.
Yes, and it's been very interesting to see his career. But yes, he's also been convicted of the so-called incitement against racial hatred, which was under the Finnish so-called hate speech laws. And well, the funny thing is, maybe we want to come back to this a bit later, but
I think maybe we are about there now.
I guess. Well, he was basically in his writing that got him the sentence. He was basically pointing out double standards. There, in Finland, you can basically you could say many bad things and generalizing many bad things about Finnish people.
Yes.
Those white European
because
Christian Finnish people.
Yeah, because you are majority population.
Yes.
And you can't get sentenced for hate speech against anyone from the majority population.
Yes, and his writing where he got his sentence, he was basically criticizing Islam, pointing out double standards, and criticizing also Somalis, because there was one writing in a small local paper where there was an opinion piece column where some small author, not even famous, wrote being horrified that people in Finland, they drink a lot, and when they get drunk they beat sometimes people, and it's so awful. They beat so many, he said, they beat so many people and their wives and so on. This is so terrible. This is definitely a national attribute of the Finnish people. Maybe it's even a genetic attribute of the Finnish people. I mean, according to our hate speech law, that should be some kind of incitement against racial hatred and so on. It's a generalization, but that writer didn't get any trouble. He didn't get any prosecution and so on. And when there were people actually trying to get him convicted or trying to say, what the hell, is this supposed to be okay? We thought everyone was supposed to be treated equally. Well, no, the public officials said something to the effect that, he's not actually saying it as an absolute fact, and we're not gonna prosecute him. They're very vague, and it might be. They were even pointing out that, we're a majority, so it's not oppression against us because we're a majority and we have so much power and so on. Something like that.
Yes.
It didn't get anywhere. He didn't get prosecuted. Well, then Jussi Halla-aho came and made a writing of his own. Okay, if that's okay, well, what the hell? What if I replace the words Finns and beating people and drunk, replace the words with Somalis and robbery and taking welfare money?
Yes.
What if, referring to this paper, what if it's a national attribute or even genetic attributes of the Somalis that they rob so many people and take so many welfare money? I mean, it's a statistical fact that they are very, very much overrepresented in robberies, and there are still very few Somalis employed in Finland. It's been 1990s that Somalis have been coming to Finland, and it's still very, very low job percentage that
I think that's a problem in all of Western Europe. I'm not sure about Britain, but at least in Sweden and Norway, I know that most Somalis living there are not working.
So it's some kind of an attribute. If it's not a genetic attribute, what could it be? Okay, it's partly related to laws. I mean, they come as an refugees or asylum seekers. Okay, they don't even in our country they don't have right from the start. They don't have the permission to be employed at some period where they would have to, you know, be integrated. They would have to learn language and so on. But still, it's not. Come on, if it's everywhere, and there are many other nationalities that will get integrated a lot more, a lot faster, who are almost all of them employed. East Asians, for example.
Yeah, for example.
There are differences, so it cannot be just our laws and our so racist society. I mean, there has to be something.
But what he was writing was basically some kind of sarcasm, or that he tried to figure out what if you instead of saying these things about Finns, you state the same things about Somalis. Do the law apply? Or
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, and well, and yeah, he was in the same writing. He was also mocking Muslims, Islam, like, well, according to Quran, Allah was having a very young minor child and married to her.
Yeah, Muhammad's marriage to Aisha.
Maybe had sex with her or something. So isn't that kind of pedophilia? And isn't as the Quran is the holy word of God? I mean, isn't then Islam a bit like justifying pedophilia religion and so on? Well, he got also. He was prosecuted for disturbing the religious peace of Muslims, but that was abandoned later on. But he got convicted for the incitement of the racial hatred against Finns. Even though, it's the funniest part, in his writing he also said specifically, clearly, he was referring to the original column about Finns beating people up in front.
Yes.
Because justification was that the author wasn't saying it as an absolute fact and so on. Well, Halla-aho was also saying in this writing, same writings, well, I'm not stating this as an absolute fact, but I'm still stating it. So what the hell? What do you think? Is this a hate crime or not? Is this incitement against?
So he was basically testing the law.
Yes, and he got convicted. Well, basically it was only fines to pay, but still. And he was back then he was. Actually, he was already a politician, but in opposition. He was not in government.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's much of background against him, and so he's also had many provocative writings, basically about tough issues and argumentative. Might sound a bit horrific, especially if taken out of context. I mean, he's questioned basically. Okay, he could have been a more specific one about the value of all humans in society. Okay, he didn't specifically say that he meant societal value, the benefit of different kind of humans in different occupations in society, but that's what he meant. So then he was criticized for that also, not prosecuted or anything, but that was so horrible that it was actually a bit distorted, because media always takes these out of context. They're clickbaiting articles. Even years ago, he was really criticized for that. I mean, it was distorted in the sense that they implied that he was questioning like human rights of people,
yes.
Which he wasn't. But he wasn't specific, so they could take it and blame it on him. In that sense, like, you know, human value relating to human rights.
Yes,
it was not about that, it was value to the society of different human beings. Well, that was one thing, and then the other was that, well, there are these other big writing was that, well, it's a fact that there are these different, well, Muslim population from Africa and Middle East who in fact really do commit statistically much more crime, especially rapes. And rapes is important in the sense that it's not related to poverty at all. Rape is not related to poverty, so if you try to argue that, well, they commit more robberies and so on because they're poor, but that doesn't work in rapes. It's something else. It might be maybe Islam and women's place in Islam, which is pretty shitty.
As I think you know, I really don't correspond to any of these socio-economic theories. And when people make the case that, for instance, the no-go areas in Sweden and in France and so on, that the cars are burning and thrown because people there would be poor. Well, why aren't we seeing any kind of... The Pakistani Christians are poor, and they are persecuted, and they are not throwing any stones at their policemen, and they are not burning any cars. Why aren't the Egyptian Christians rising up against their Muslim neighbors? Could it be that it's related to something else than poverty?
Interesting. What could that be?
Yeah.
Could it be some attributes like cultural related attribute or religion related, whatever. Anyway, yes, relating to this was his one other writing where basically when there are these Muslim populations from Africa, Middle East come into European nations, they commit more crime, more rapes compared to native populations. In relation to numbers, it's much more higher percentage that they commit the crimes. Maybe even something like 10 times more. And he was one of Halla-aho's writing was that when and if these people come in, and they do statistically, factually commit more rapes, well, wouldn't it be more justified that these rapes were being targeted to those those women in those organizations who want here more of these problematic populations, problematic...
Yeah, the refugees welcome people.
Yeah, wouldn't it be more justified that these rapes were committed against specifically these people? Of course, it's not going to happen, but it was a theoretical suggestion that wouldn't it be more justified. And this is another big writing that he's been really criticized, and we're getting this is getting relevant soon because this is relating to our so-called government crisis and government negotiations, what happened and why he was not accepted, why he was hated and rejected by our ruling government parties and media. Of course, media has been in constant war against him, but much like against Trump. I mean,
yeah, I see a lot. Yes. I see something there.
And I mean, really similar. Even before Trump, he's been in war against the media about 10 years now. And I mean, one hugely strength of his writing is that he has a very good media criticism. I mean, he's a very good media critic. Very good. He picks up weaknesses, all their basically stupid propaganda messages and tears them apart and points out all the double standards and so on, and basically fucks with the media, he trolls the media and uses it very well against the media because it gets so much attention and still gets...
So he's playing their game against them.
Yes, well, fairly good in the sense that he, for a short while, he was the new leader of the about second or third largest party in Finland in government power.
Yes.
But anyway, then all hell started to break loose, so to say. And after his election of becoming a new leader, the Finnish party, now we're getting back to the current politics again after this background. And then the so-called government crisis happened, and after which many people defected, deserted the party, the founding members deserted the party. Yes, and this is getting back to your earlier question about what really happened was that, as it was already in advance known, months before, at least weeks before, it was likely, according to popular polls, that Halla-aho might become the new leader. Secretly, the founder of the party, Timo Soini, founder of True Finns, and his supporters started negotiating with the ruling party about possibility of deserting the party and starting a new splinter movement secretly with with the new with
the new alternative.
yes, the new
And to be
alternative.
able to stay in government anyway.
Yes, and that's getting the point, and that's really the true reason why they did this. When they secretly started negotiating this, it was made very clear to these deserters that Halla-aho would not be accepted as the new leader of the true Finns, and that the Center Party, well, the Center Party also, but most strongly the National Coalition Party, Kokoomus, would not accept government cooperation with Jussi Halla-aho leading the true Finns. Not in any case. It was absolutely no. And the background of this is Kokoomus, National Coalition Party, is basically hugely competing fiercely with the Green Party for voters.
That's interesting.
They've positioned them so that they're really competing for the same voters. It's been even mocked that Greens are basically the so-called park or green section of the National Coalition Party. They have pretty much same economic policies, except Greens, of course, want more renewable energies to be supported more effectively, and of course they have those environmental issues important. And that was one huge reason, because if National Coalition Party would have started to cooperate with Halla-aho, they would have lost a huge number of voters to Green Party, because their voters have pretty much the same values, and values become relevant also later on. And well, the Center Party, that's the biggest party in Finland. They were not so much against Halla-aho. It's not so bad. They might have, if it were only Center Party and True Finns, they might have actually come to terms even with Halla-aho.
Okay.
They're not that far apart.
Oh, right,
In a sense, they're not competing with the same voters so much. But as it happened, that was the reality. That was one of the biggest parts, and also why Jussi Halla-aho and his new True Finns were rejected. Another big, huge obstacle and reason for rejection was that European Union policy.
Yes.
Halla-aho and his True Finns decided publicly already initially that, as I said, they're not going to stay in government at any cost. They're going to start respecting their voters more. They're going to be more against European Union, not in every issue, but still opposing many integration policies, many refugee policies. I mean, it's not mandatory that Finland or any European nation would have to accept everything or the maximum numbers of the refugee transfers. It's like 100,000 now that it's still supposed to be transferred from Italy or Greece, from southern nation.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, Halla-aho and his True Finns would have opposed these policies, which are which are government parties, Center Party, National Coalition Party. They have made absolutely clear that they agree with everything. They agree everything that the European Union proposes.
If Brussels tells them to jump, they ask how high.
And try to jump even higher.
Yeah,
I mean, they have decided that in future, in next 2 years, Finland will be going along first in line in everything the European Union tells. As much so-called refugees, really living standard refugees.
Yeah, that's why I
mostly.
usually just say migrants or asylum seekers.
Yes.
You can be an asylum seeker even
Yes.
if you really should get your case rejected.
Yes. Anyway, that was huge part of being rejected, and this would have, if this would have happened, there was no other alternative. This by itself would have been the only deciding factor that no, these other parties will not cooperate with True Finns, and as the Centre Party would not also cooperate, they would have to throw True Finns out of the government. Then they would have to choose new partners in government. It would have been probably the Swedish National Party, as weird as it sounds. There's Swedish National Party, it's a really small party, and Christian Democrats, probably they would have replaced True Finns with them. That's what would have happened. Then there would have been new negotiations. They would have basically undone everything, even the small adjustments, small tightenings to our immigration policy, which is still very loose.
They would have turned you into Sweden.
Even more, but even more. But yeah, that would have turned when Halla-aho's True Finns, they would have no other alternative than revert back to opposition. And this gets back to the background that I explained. True Finns have been an opposition party almost forever, from the start, over almost 20 years, over 15 years. And founder of the party had made it for his life purpose almost that I want to go to the government no matter the cost. And he became minister. He's our foreign minister, Timo Soini.
Yes.
Or was. Maybe now again, but he was. And he just wouldn't take it. He wanted True Finns or his supporters to continue in the government at any cost. It was already enough opposition for him, and of course, well, a minister has a lot more pay than representatives of the people.
Yeah, okay, then he would get as a parliamentarian.
So basically, his huge paycheck was a big motive. As for his supporters, all of his supporters who deserted the party were those who were in good government positions.
Yes.
Ministers and some spokesmen or women, and they're good. They just wanted to continue at any cost in the government. That was their true motive, no matter what they've explained. They basically lied a hell of a lot in the public now. And
well, power corrupts.
yes,
To quote Lord Acton.
yeah.
In short, do you think that the hate speech laws in Finland, of which I know there has been several cases, at least a few months ago, do you think these cases were not only Halla-aho but also other politicians? I think a youth politician from the True Finns party, Sebastian Tynkkynen, was sentenced in January, I believe. Do you think these cases, are they related to the rise of Halla-aho as the new chairman or the new party leader?
Maybe they're part of Halla-aho supporters, all of them, and it was not just Jussi Halla-aho, it was also the vice spokesmen and women. One of them had also an incitement against racial hatred, and there have been lots of cases, basically only in True Finns, that have been convicted of either racial incitement against racial hatred. Well, sometimes. Well, there have been some minor party members, but not in any government power nor representative people position. Just some minor, small cases. Yeah, they have really incited against people, like, not exactly said that they should be killed, but deported forcefully, and okay, is it an incitement? Is it what? Okay, it's a forceful action. It might involve violence when you violently deport all people. Yeah. So okay, there have been some few genuine cases, but very few for any leaders or in high power. There's one third vice spokesman who was also chosen, Teuvo Hakkarainen. He's basically a drunken fool, but he's a funny guy, and he sometimes has good points, but basically he's a drunken fool.
Okay.
And he was also convicted basically for saying that he basically said this. not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims. Well, it's okay. It's not exactly true, but
But he's getting close.
It's pretty accurate. It's almost true. It's almost accurate in a sense, relating to last few years.
Yeah, from what we
Mostly.
can see by what's been going on for the last few years in the West, and also
Yeah.
other parts of the world.
Yeah, I mean, related to Finnish hate speech laws, it's basically you cannot say anything negative about the protected minority groups. You cannot generalize anything negative of them. Of course, you can generalize something positive. That's not
Yeah.
prohibited. That's always allowed and cheered for. But if you say something negative, be it Muslims or
Yes.
Arabs or immigrants from Middle East,
But
if you generalize and if you don't make it complicated enough, then you get prosecuted. I mean, if basically even in these cases when you say that not all Muslims are that, but still all terrorists who have done this have been Muslims. Even that gets punished. It's pretty bad, but in a sense you can say these things. You can say these things if you just make it complicated enough. I mean, if you say something like this, the past few years, almost all the major terrorist acts have been committed by extreme Muslims. Then it's okay. It's accurate. It's true. And if you don't really generalize, but you say, well, based on statistical facts compiled by our justice bureaus and research facilities, these specific immigrant populations commit about 10 times more crime. If you're being very specific and so on, you don't get prosecuted. But what it really does is politics. It's all about rhetoric. It's all about making very short, influential, emotional appeals and sentences. These hate speech laws, well, it's a bit stretch. Oftentimes they're unnecessary because there have always been laws against incitement against racial hate, and it's okay. It's justified in a sense when they're really applied. I mean, if you threaten to kill populations or
if you
use violence against them, of course it's wrong. But there have been these laws forever, for ages, decades. I mean, these hate speech laws they blur, they make it more confusing.
Well, to me that's thought crime laws, really.
Yes.
And what I think it seems that the code word I've been listening for when I've tried to follow the news from Finland has been the word crime against religious peace. Because then you're really on to the thought crimes, because you can't. Because I know, okay, this person probably didn't say anything bad about Christianity. He probably didn't say anything bad about Judaism or Buddhism or Hinduism or Sikhism. No, you're almost certain they said something about Islam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But as I used to say, when did Islam become a race or an ethnicity? Bosnian Muslims look pretty white to me, while Somali Muslims look pretty black, and the East Asian Muslims look pretty much like the East Asians. So they fail to distinguish between what you might call racial incitement and criticizing an ideology.
Yeah, and there's related to this. There's a very old and ridiculous law against disturbing religious peace of someone. It's sometimes used, very rarely. Mostly it's used this incitement law. Even when it's religion that you're criticizing. Here and there, those cases, and it's really ridiculous. It should have been banned long ago. I mean, criticizing religion, it should not be prohibited, in my opinion. At least.
No, I agree.
But it's very hard to change laws that have been in place so long, politicians are really reluctant to change these kind of laws, no matter who's in power. But where were we in the political situation discussion?
I think we pretty much settled what was going on.
A lot, yeah. The point, I guess, not sure was said already, but about this backdoor dealings. Yeah, it was planned already way before the election of Halla-aho. That was the point I think I was getting at, meaning that which makes it so-called treacherous or treasonous.
Yes.
Why the founding members and others abandoned the party, because they knew in advance that Halla-aho would win. They started their secret negotiations, and it was even reported in the news at the 3rd of June, week before the election.
Interesting.
It was reported in the news about these discussions. It was a very good article written in local newspaper, but it got reported widely that in 3rd of June, week before the election, according to many government sources, there is a secret plan between the ruling government party, Centre Party and National Coalition Party, and supporters of Timo Soini. About 20 people who plan to defect the party and start a new splinter group if Halla-aho will be elected as the new leader. Even the number was already a week before known.
That's interesting.
And the point is that these defectors, they have been lying ever since they started their new group. They said no, we decided only after Halla-aho's election that our party has changed so much, and there was a revolution in our party. Our party has been captured. Bullshit. It has become larger, and the members of the party are disappointed in their leaders, who have lied to their voters. They have betrayed their promises. They have gone against the principles of the Truth Party. And it's really sunk. And that's one reason why I think Jussi Halla-aho, who publicly tried to continue in the government, he went through basically show negotiations with the other parties, the Centre and the National Coalition Party leaders. It was basically just a big show. Everyone, including Halla-aho, did not want really to work with the parties. Halla-aho said that I'm going to agree to the agreed national the government plan signed in 2015, but it has to be followed through. But I don't think he really wanted it. I don't think he really wanted to go to the government. It would have sunk the party even lower. I mean, he would have to have agreed to basically continue Soini's policy or be thrown out of the party. Because I personally thought already back in 2015, after Truffins went to the party the first year, I thought that they're starting to break so many promises, they're sinking in the polls, it's getting so bad. At 2017 at the latest, at halfway through, I believe that they're going to go to the opposition. And I believe Halla-aho would have really wanted it. I mean, he made a big, he made a kind of, let's say, difficult demands for Centre and National Coalition Party. Well, he would have been against the European Union. That was a definitely huge no-no. But other than that, he would have tried to actually lead the party from Brussels.
Yes.
But how the hell are you supposed to do that? I mean, leader of the government party, he would have to be present all the time. I mean, there are so many decisions to be done, so many plans, so many things to be agreed. I mean, it's all the time. There are always so much other things to consider. So someone would have to be present all the time. Halla-aho would have been in Brussels only a few days in Finland. Well, Halla-aho explained then that no problem. I'll have these two vice spokesmen to make decisions and our True Finns headquarters.
Yes.
It would have been, let's say, problematic. First of all, the third vice spokesman, Teuvo Hakkarainen, well, he's drunken fool.
Yeah.
And also convicted of
Yeah, so he would be kind of a loose cannon then.
Incitement against president. And the other second, the first vice spokeswoman actually, would have been Laura Huhtasaari. I don't know if you know anything about her, but
No, I haven't heard about her.
she's basically a woman version of Halla-aho, but she talks double the amount that Halla-aho. She's a real motor mouth.
Okay.
He talks lots of sense and good points, but also lots of bullshit and bad points. But anyway, she's also a young Earth creationist, and he has some very wild points here and there. So she would have been a very unpredictable, unreliable, maybe
A little controversial.
very controversial, and then what does that mean? The third part, that the Finnish True Finns HQ would have also participated in decision making. I mean,
Yes.
to me it seems that this was a very high demand. I mean, if I don't think, that's why I think he really did not want to go to government, and also he had another strategy, straight to the opposition and then rise up in there and try to increase the sunken popularity that's been cut in half, and well, basically,
Yeah.
that's what I think really was his motive. Also, the party would have sunken even lower. Halla-aho would have to explain and basically taken back all the things he'd said and written so far. It would have totally sunk his popularity. I mean, he would have, all the time when something explodes in the world, so to say, he would have to be there basically saying that, oh, so terrible, but not all Muslims, and and we're very tolerant, and let's not give in to fear, and so on. I mean,
the usual. We know that rhetoric.
Yes, but in any sense,
Yes.
in any sense, yeah, they were a bit far apart, and if Halla-aho would have wanted to really continue in the government, he would basically have to continue the same submission policy, do everything
Yeah, that's
European
really a
Union
good. Yeah.
wants, and that would have been the end of True Finns, totally.
Yeah. So in conclusion, I think I would say, well, two things. I managed to pick the right week to go to Finland, and dear Finland, please get some freedom of speech, and please learn to distinguish between incitement and just freedom of speech, and please don't turn into Sweden.
Yeah, those are good points, and unfortunately what's going to happen in the next 2 years, I mean, those deserters that were trying to show them as so patriotic and so clear of conscience, and oh, thank God we went away, our party has been destroyed and ruined, and now we're really gonna continue to do this important government business, and we're really gonna start to help again those 500,000 people who voted us. And basically what's really gonna happen, they've lost all their power. They've shown publicly, they've shown to other ruling parties that they agree to anything. I mean, they have no power left. They have no negotiation power, anything. I mean, their political careers have been basically almost ruined. I mean, at least representatives as the people.
Yes.
I mean, they've committed political suicide in that sense. And what I believe, it's just they're basically following through everything that the center party wants. They have to agree to everything, and maybe what they really managed to negotiate